Welcome to the Pulse of the Heartland podcast, the podcast where no topic is off limits. Now welcome the boys of the Heartland, Bryant, Ryan, Clark, Joey, and Trent. Welcome to episode 8 of the Pulse of the Heartland podcast. Want to welcome everybody back and thank everybody for tuning in and listening to the previous episodes. Joey, what are the socials?
What up? Uncle Joe down here in Missouri. We've got us on Instagram and Twitter at Heartland Pulse. Get all of our new smoking stuff on there, all the pictures we put up over the weekend. And we got a bunch of videos on Instagram from the weekend also. And then you can also find us on Facebook. We try to post everything we can on there and let everyone know when we're recording. So that's where you can find us on social media.
All right, Joey, what are you drinking?
I actually bought some craft beer on the way home, and beer just didn't sound good tonight. So I am sticking with some vodka tonics.
All right.
No special vodka, just Tavern Keep. Just plain old.
I had to make a call to the bullpen, huh?
That's right. My tummy hurt, so I went with vodka tonic.
There you go. Ryan, what are you drinking?
Some Dayquil and some Tylenol cold and flu.
Getting crazy tonight.
All right.
Yeah, no,
Ryan's
just
on that
drinking-
scissor.
I somehow have a voice tonight, so I'm just going with Pepsi.
All right.
Man, do you have that in a white cup like Lil Wayne?
What's that?
Do you have that in a white cup like Lil Wayne?
No, unfortunately, it's still in the bottle.
Clark, what are you drinking?
Clark here, checking in from Kansas with a Bush.
All right.
Ooh.
Compliments of Trent.
That's right.
Bryant, what are you drinking?
Tomorrow River Hells out of Central Water Brewing. I got it because it has a swan on it. Yeah, I don't know
Looking
anything
at
else
me,
about
swan.
it. Yeah.
I like how Bryant goes for his beers, whatever. Like last week, I believe it was, you were talked about because it had a milkshake. This week's because it has a swan.
Right, I'm right there with you, though. When I'm out at a bar, I look at the tap, and if I see a cool tap, that's what I order. That's how I discovered Dogfish Head, which is one of my favorite breweries now.
1,000% agree with you on that. Good taps are hard to come by.
I would absolutely say when you're at a random brewery, you go by the funniest name, or like this one, I'm going by cans. I've never claimed to be a smart man, but that's probably one of the smartest things I do. Because then otherwise, like, oh, am I in a mood for this? Whatever. The name made me chuckle, and then when you tell the story, if it's good, you know, hey, did you have you? It's better if you have a funny name rather than like this one had a swan on it, but you know, it's way better if it's a funny name, I guess.
Yeah, Trent, we'll get to you here, but have you guys ever been to a tap house before?
Yes.
No.
Yeah, so I was at the one in Vegas, and there's like 100 and some different taps there, and sure, that's where I discovered Dogfish Head because there was the shark up on top there. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna have that tap, and after getting that one out of 100 and some beers, it was love at first sight, I guess.
Nice.
There we
go. If you ever make it to Des Moines, the Iowa Tap House in Des Moines, theirs is all surrounded by like all their taps are on a silo right in the middle. Oh, it's so cool.
Oh, that's cool.
It's very Heartland.
Yep.
All right, Trent, what are you drinking, bud?
I am drinking Remedy Brewing Company out of Sioux Falls. I stopped at the brewing company on my way home from work tonight and got their very limited barrel-aged back-to-bed stout. It was aged in the Bullet Bourbon whiskey barrel, so kind of cool. It's very dark. It's very good. You can definitely taste the whiskey at the end. It's interesting. But
It's pretty much like drinking a car bomb, isn't it?
Yeah, no, not that. That's terrible.
Okay.
All right. Well, the college football playoffs, the rankings came out about an hour ago. What's everybody's thoughts on the rankings?
I didn't really like that. Yeah, I mean, I think we all hate that Bama's in, but at this point, I think it's pretty much going to solve itself. If Georgia does what they're supposed to, they're the gambling favorite. I think Bama slides out, and as long as Cincy and Oklahoma State take care of business, I think they slide back in.
What do you think will happen if Alabama beats Georgia?
I don't want to think about that, okay?
Say that happens. Does Bama jump to number 1 and they just flip Bama and Georgia 1 and 3?
I think it honestly, well, I mean, what if Michigan just absolutely blows the doors off Iowa? Is there a chance they slip to 1 or jump to 1? Did I say something funny? Team that barely beat Nebraska this weekend?
Well, you don't have to be mean. You were funny for a second.
Yeah, get nasty over there, Brian.
I'm trying to. We're going real takes, no jokes now.
I mean, I don't like Alabama being in there because they're squeaking by Auburn.
They should have lost too.
It is a rivalry game, but they're squeaking by them. Come on.
I really Alabama? Is Alabama truly a top 4 team right now? Their record's 11-1. Well, their record's 11-1, but they're squeaking by 6-6 SEC teams. You know, I don't think they're a top 4 team.
Who do you put in front of them? Oklahoma State and Cincy?
Yes.
Sure.
I mean, put Cincy up there.
Yeah.
I really don't like Cincy at number 4 right now because they are also undefeated.
Right.
The way it is right now, they'd have to play Georgia, the other undefeated team. I feel like them going undefeated, they deserve that number 2 spot at least.
Well, and again, I think if Georgia takes care of business and Michigan takes care of business, obviously, then I think, well, then you're having. I think they're going to keep Cincy at 4 no matter what happens, unless they lose. Because if Oklahoma State beats Baylor, now all of a sudden they have another top 10 win, and they're going to make them jump Cincinnati because they only beat the 21st ranked team, even though they're undefeated.
Do you see any scenario where even if Alabama loses, the committee still says, "Hey, you know what? We need to put Oklahoma State in there if they win their championship." But you know what? We think Alabama will be better than Cincinnati. Let's put Alabama in there. Do you see any possibility of that happening? Because I, for some reason, do. Unfortunately,
I don't think they put an 11-2 Alabama team in over an 11-1 Notre Dame. I think that's another big name that can hold its own in a playoff. I think Notre Dame would go in over an 11-2 Alabama. So
even without Brian Kelly.
Yeah, I was reading stuff today, and one of the prerequisites for the playoff committee is to look at rankings only and not outside chatter, basically.
That's not what Barta said tonight. He said that they would be looking into if the coaches and if players are out. So now they're talking about if star players are out, all of a sudden they're not going to put top teams in there. I mean, that's kind of bullshit.
Jesus,
but I mean,
weird. Barta's making up his own rules.
Yeah, and also weird. They're looking at whatever's going to make them the most money, not the team that's most deserving.
Welcome to the Big Ten and Iowa.
Yeah. I'll save my takes about Iowa when we get to the Big Ten.
Can't wait.
I'm not in a very good mood tonight, so I hope it's not too bad.
I think it's stuff that you're probably already thinking. You just don't want to admit. After Iowa State's had a bad year, there's a lot of things that we've slowly started admitting about our team. So at least you fell into the conference championship game, you know?
All right, let's go.
Yep.
Joey's had enough college football playoff talk tonight.
Yeah, can we move on to food?
Yeah, we're just going to skip all football. All right. So anybody else got any hot takes here about the playoff?
No, it'll just be interesting to see how they treat Notre Dame. I've always thought it would be interesting, like this weekend, if you are Notre Dame at 6, why don't you on a short week try and schedule like a BYU or something and try and get your quote unquote conference championship game or anyone that's willing to play a game and try and boost your resume.
To get that 13th game.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I see it. All right, well, moving on. We'll hit the Big 12 recap here. Iowa State, they blew the doors off of TCU this weekend. That was a fun game to watch. Brees Hall again goes crazy. He had like 242 rushing yards or something. It was fun to watch, and he got that touchdown that he needed.
Absolutely. NCAA record holder finally.
Yeah, 24 straight games, breaking a 51-year record. So that's stood the test of time. Finally broke. So that's pretty cool. And elsewhere in our notes, Brock Purdy here. I mean, he holds 31 school records now.
I think he holds all the good ones, because ironically, with all the throwing and all the stuff he doesn't even hold the most interceptions. So thankfully, he's holding all the good records at this point.
I guess I didn't think about that. I didn't think about the bad ones. So I guess those are the good ones to not hold. So
yeah, the Brett Favre record right there.
Yeah, greatest quarterback ever. Yeah, you're going to throw a few interceptions in there. So.
Mm-hmm. So who's replacing Matt Campbell when he goes to Notre Dame?
Shut your mouth, Ryan.
he said he'd only leave Iowa State for Ohio State or Notre Dame.
Or Penn State.
So
yeah. I don't know. From the people that I have that inside sources, they think he's pretty much set this year, but who knows when that was said, and who knows when we were writing up the agenda, I had it all typed up, and then within the last 24 hours, how many things have we had to change because all the numbers on coaches that needed to change, and
it's been active, that's for sure.
I don't know.
Yeah, who knows? I mean, it could be breaking speak that he's leaving for whatever school, but things change so fast. But I don't know. Everybody's freaking out. I hope he doesn't leave. I don't see him leaving after this year.
That's why Trent is nervously refreshing Twitter every 30 seconds.
Can you hear that clicking? Just click, 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 click. But I don't see it.
I think from what I've heard on Notre Dame, I think they're going to keep with that. From what I've heard, when they brought in Kelly, Notre Dame was in shambles, and he got them up to at least a level of competency, and now to the national recognition they needed to. I think now they don't have to have the home run hire. They have a guy that's within the system that Kelly was actually trying to bring to LSU. I think they might keep it in house and bring in that Freeman.
Yeah, I saw all their players. He was all the players really liked him. They want him to stay and be their head coach. So hopefully that happens, and Matt Campbell doesn't jump ship. So.
No, and honestly,
I'm cheering for you guys to keep him. That's for sure.
Yeah,
he seems like a good dude.
I think just with the culture that he's built around Iowa State, he sees he can be, the Kirk Ferentz. As long as you're, winning record and you have that right reputation, at Iowa State, and they are building everything around what he's wanting. I think you stay at that point. Now, it's easy to say when I'm a Iowa State homer and you have, the prestigious Notre Dame knocking at the door. But I don't know. I think he's got the school in the right place with the new Big 12. He's a lot of our rankings on recruiting and, just where we're finishing. If we're not the top team, we're competing at least top, I think 3 or 4 realistically in most sports. Especially football. I don't see why he would leave, but I mean,
and if it is prestige going to Notre Dame. If he left it, I don't think it'd be about the money, because there was reports that Brian Kelly was only getting paid like $2.5 million a year, and Campbell's getting paid $4 million a year right now at Iowa State. So I don't see that being an issue. I don't know. Maybe they would step up, but. Brian Kelly's going what was it, 2.5 million to like 15 million a year
reportedly
at LSU. That is crazy. But I don't see him leaving for that reason to go to Notre Dame. Now maybe some other school throws a ton of money at him and that might be the reason, but I don't see money being the reason for Notre Dame.
No. These deals are crazy because $15 million for him, and then they're buying his 2 houses, I think, over asking price, and then buying him a $1 million house. That's just nuts.
They're doing that for Brian Kelly.
Mm-hmm.
I saw the same thing.
They're doing more for what's his name,
Lincoln Riley. Yeah, they're buying him a $6 million house, buying both of his houses for $500,000, over asking, like access to a private jet
for his family. Yep.
Yeah,
it's just nuts, and we have a big issue with paying college students to play. Isn't that crazy?
How do you like knowing that your college tuition's going to buy this freaking prick's house?
Well, luckily my tuition went to buying Coach O a house and some crawfish and getting a national championship.
Those
crawfish.
Yeah.
So I went to Southeast Tech. There's no football school to pay the coach.
There you go.
I believe the report is that Coach O eats those crawfish shells and all.
Yeah, he just pops them in his mouth whole. He seems like a guy that would do that.
He is a swamp monster.
Yeah. All right, so we went to Lincoln Riley there. They dropped Bedlam. OU loses to Oklahoma State. That was a good game.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Great game.
Good comeback win. Wasn't it like 33-24 at one point, Oklahoma, and then the rest of the way, Oklahoma State shuts them out and beats them 37-33. So watched a little bit of that game.
That's definitely, when you're watching Bedlam, that's the high-scoring type of game that you always expect, and they seem to always deliver. Now, usually Oklahoma somehow pulls it out of their ass at the last second every time, but I think a lot of the fans, this is one of the reasons. Now, I think several of us Iowa fans, Iowa State, even LSU minus the national championship year, would we take going 11-1, 12-1 and winning the conference every year? Yeah, but, they've slowly seen them drop from, playoff being close to being blown out in the playoffs to now making the playoffs, to competing against Iowa State in a conference championship, and now, not even making the conference championship. When you're Oklahoma and you have 50 conference titles, that's not going to get it done. I haven't really heard a lot of people that are too upset about Riley leaving. It's just more now you got to figure out who's going to replace him.
Bob Stoops.
Bill Snyder, that shit.
And another school leaving for the SEC is Texas. They've end their losing streak. Good job, Texas.
Did they get a bowl game?
No, they are not bowl eligible. I think they only won 5 games this year. They're 5-7. But they beat Kansas State. I did not see that coming. I thought Kansas State would beat them to give them their 7th straight loss.
Couldn't have happened to a nicer group of people,
Love you, Torres.
And elsewhere in the Big 12, Texas Tech and Kansas, kind of the bottom feeders of the Big 12 the last few years, they fall a little short, which has kind of been the story for them. Kansas, though, they put up a better fight, it seemed like, the last few weeks of the year. I don't know, beating Texas got them some confidence, but
that Jared Casey, that tight end that was the miracle play versus Texas, he scored touchdowns, I think, in 3 straight games now.
Yeah,
nice.
I saw that the camera was on him on the sideline, and he totally what's the word I'm looking for? He totally shout out Applebee's, like gave him a plug, because that's one of his name, image, and likeness.
Awesome.
He knows who pays him.
Yeah,
good for him.
Yeah, I watched the video, but I couldn't tell what he said. I think it was like they're 2 for $20, something like that. But yeah, I thought that was funny. Okay, he's just trying to make that money.
Good for him, man.
Yeah, get that. With the NIL, get that money now, dude. Might as well.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
TCU, they get their head coach. Sonny Dykes, don't know a whole lot about him, but again,
he brought SMU back to prominence. They're at least, getting in the ranked conversation, and, smaller school, but they're going to be exactly competing in that same area, for recruiting. So I think it's a good hire.
He was a hot name going to SMU, and he's a hotter name going to TCU. We'll see what happens after he gets done there in a couple years. I bet he moves on to a bigger school.
Yeah,
He'll probably be at USC in a couple years.
Probably.
After Lincoln Riley gets fired.
Yep.
Yeah.
And now Big 12 championship game is on Saturday. Baylor versus Oklahoma State. It's refreshing to see somebody else.
Yes, it is. And that game's being played in Dallas at AT&T Stadium. It's at 11 a.m. on Saturday.
Yeah, Oklahoma State is favored. So kind of, I don't know. I think everybody in the Big 12's rooting interest should be towards Oklahoma State, just in the outlook of getting somebody into the playoff from the Big 12, because Baylor wins, they're not getting into the playoff for sure.
Yeah.
Right.
And we haven't been in the playoffs in the last couple of years, but then Oklahoma, I mean, did Oklahoma really show up when they quote unquote played LSU? I mean, what was that, win by 45 points in that game?
Yeah, it wasn't even close. That's for sure.
Right.
Yeah. I'm pulling it up right now. It's 63-28. My bad. You know, when you let a team score 63 points in the playoffs, you just kind of, I don't know, man. Like you said, I think it's just nice. And other than Oklahoma shitting the bed in the postseason, I think we need to get Oklahoma State in there and shit the bed versus Georgia, I guess. I don't know.
With OU, because I mean they had full team, they had good coach and all that stuff, and now they're going to the SEC, where they're probably going to lose recruits because of this Lincoln Riley thing, and who knows what their head coach will be like. I think it's going to be a rude awakening for OU and Texas, who thought they were the Big 12 at one point.
Yeah. Is that not the greatest karma in quite a while? Both Oklahoma and Texas are touting about how you're not going to make money without us. You know, this conference is basically going to disassemble. Now we're bringing in, 3 ranked in the top 25 right now. We have UCF's national championship that they claimed, and now these two are falling apart at the seams.
Yeah, in Oklahoma, they've already lost quite a few. They've had quite a few of their recruits decommit already. Spencer Rattler's transferring.
Thank God.
I saw that.
Does anybody care that he's leaving?
No.
I don't think Oklahoma fans care.
Do you just have your fingers crossed he doesn't end up at Iowa State or Iowa? Like you guys?
Yeah. So apparently, I don't know how true this was. I saw it on Twitter, but there was a text between Lincoln Riley and Spencer Rattler, and it was something along the lines of Lincoln Riley trying to hint to Spencer, like, hey, come out to USC. And I guess Spencer Rattler just texted back, good luck, LOL.
The only cool thing I've seen him do in his short time in the
yeah, that's true.
So who knows how true that is, but if it's true, that's pretty funny. So it doesn't look like he'll be going to USC.
It's funny that with Oklahoma, honestly, because they've just been a powerhouse. They've just been shitting on everyone in the conference, minus, the miracle years by Texas and Baylor. But they haven't lost, I did just a little research. They haven't lost a coach to another job since 1973, and they haven't lost a coach to another college team since 1947. And their fans on Twitter, they are literally acting. They were asking, do we even go to a bowl game? And they're talking about suing Lincoln Riley because he's quote unquote stealing recruits. It's like, do you live in this fantasy world? You've never dealt with this where a coach leaves. Well, you haven't, but a coach leaves and they think it's illegal and they just can't go on with the season now. It's
right.
It's kind of funny.
This happens to probably 10% of the Power Fives every year, and then they want to sue Lincoln Riley. That's hilarious.
But honestly, it sounds like from what I've heard from people saying they realistically, I think Venables, that the defensive coordinator at Clemson, is who they're trying to push for. He has ties to Norman and stuff. But also, I've even heard people talking about they want Urban Meyer there. They think Riley's too soft, and they want a hard ass in there to, get the program tough for the SEC.
Riley's too soft, man. I can't. It's crazy to me for some people to say that after he's had 3 Heisman quarterbacks in a row, and Caleb Williams was on track to, probably next year compete for that again. Like, but OU fans I guess just have their heads up their ass more than I thought they did.
I don't know. I mean, from their end, and you can see it as well. It's I'm trying to think of like an NFL equivalent, but you're getting to the playoffs every year. You're competing, and you're just not making the next step, which everyone would love to be in that position. 11-1, 11-2 every year, but when you have won national championships in the last 2 decades, and now you're just not. With like Riley, he is getting the top 5 recruiting classes, but he's not getting top 5 results. So if you can't do it with the best players, you're not developing them. You have if you think about it, Baker was there. He was Stoops' kid. And then you have Kyler Murray, an MLB prospect that you somehow talked in going into college. And then you get a Saban recruit transferred over. So, I mean, really, 3 Heisman quarterbacks, or Heisman caliber. But how much did he really even develop them? All those kids had that talent.
Yeah, but he still had to do the talking and get them there. I mean, you can't take away his recruiting prowess. I mean,
so he's a shy. Well, I mean, Coach O, he was a great recruiter as well, but
and that's what people are saying about Brian Kelly going to LSU is, he has such great recruiting at Notre Dame and stuff, and a lot of Notre Dame alums that I've talked to, they blame it on, or not blame it, but they put all the credit towards his assistant staff. So if he takes his assistants with him, LSU could be in a good spot. If they don't, Notre Dame's probably going to stick where they're at with recruiting. But we can get to that when we get to the SEC.
Yes. I was going to say an interesting thing about that, though, with Brian Kelly. LSU had a 5-star quarterback that was committed to them. And once Coach O it was announced that he wasn't going to be with them anymore, he didn't, I guess, not officially decommitted, but he was like, okay, I'm looking at my options now. And one of the options was Notre Dame. And now after this Brian Kelly thing, I believe the quarterback is Walker Howard. He said, okay, we got a coach that knows how to win. So because of Brian Kelly, he's going to be staying at LSU, which is good news because, they need a quarterback.
Yeah. I mean, is Max Johnson graduating, or are you just going to hunt him down?
I think he's only a sophomore. I think he's only a sophomore. So unless he learns to develop really quickly over the next year, this 5-star is going to be taking his job immediately.
All right.
He'll be hitting the transfer portal.
I guess depends on how much money Brad pays them too, I guess.
True.
The boys from the Heartland will be right back.
To the Big Ten, Iowa had a big game on Saturday. Or no, they played Friday. Versus who'd they play, Joey?
Good old Nebby.
Your favorite.
Pulled one out against the Big Red. That was not a game I was a fan of in the first half. That running game for Nebraska looked like Nebraska from the 90s. And I tweeted that even. I was pretty afraid that I was going to look like a fucking fool for most of the game. And then end of the third quarter happens with a big-ass block punt, and all the momentum just shifted. And again, Scott Frost lets down his team. And the best stat I saw of the day, I don't care how many yards Goodson had, I don't care how good our special teams was, Scott Frost has now lost 20 games by single digits since his tenure started.
Jesus, man.
That is such bad coaching. I mean, you can put like 5 or 6 on plays happening here and there. 20 games. 20 fucking games. That's just terrible coaching, guys. And I don't know. I don't know where they go from here.
And that's 9 single digit scores this year too. He's almost half of them in one season. He's now the new record holder on that too.
Yeah, and this is only since 2018. This is only like his third year there. Good. So whatever. But yeah, to recap the game, Iowa was down 21-6 at half. Like I said, Nebraska's running attack, that option, that redshirt sophomore, redshirt freshman quarterback they had showed no fear. He was just going at people. And so was that Yant at running back. And they looked unstoppable. I thought we were just going to get ran out of the building, to be honest with you. And then Phil Parker made RIP Norm. Phil Parker made halftime adjustments, and they came out and stopped him the first couple drives. Iowa switched quarterbacks, didn't do a goddamn thing. Our offense just looked terrible for the most part. And then that block punt happened, and defense just stepped up. We got a couple fumbles. Man, I was cheering pretty loud in the second half, especially between the end of the third and all of the fourth quarter. So good game to sneak out. And then Iowa did their part to get to the Big Ten championship.
I watched pretty much the whole game. That quarterback for Nebraska looked pretty good in the first half. But I didn't think Spencer Petras looked that bad when Iowa made the switch. I thought he looked better than he did earlier.
Oh, you mean Petras looked better than he did earlier in the season?
Correct. Yeah, when Iowa made the switch to Petras here in what was that, third quarter, whenever they did that?
Right at halftime. Yeah,
Was it at halftime?
I still don't know why they took Padilla out. I mean, he was doing the same exact thing that Petras was. So whatever, it worked. They won. Yeah. So I just don't know what happened, but
yeah, and then the block punt for the touchdown, that kind of turned momentum, and that's when I was like, okay, Iowa's going to win this. Like up until then, was not very sure.
So that block punt was scored by Southeast Valley's own Kyler Fisher, who is from Farnhamville. Yeah. And that's where Bryant and Trent and I all went to school. So.
And they just won the state title, too.
Correct. Yep, exactly. Big things happening in G-Town.
They have another recruit going there next year. So going to Iowa.
Yeah, that Graves. I've had people, because they see Gowrie, Iowa, and they're going, where the hell is this town, first of all? And they know I'm the one person that they know where it's from. And that kid, he was offered, he went to a camp out there in Iowa City. They offered him a scholarship the next day. So that kid, obviously he led his team to a state championship. I'm telling you, the kid's 6'4", and he's built like a brick shit house. They have been giving him a meal plan and prepping him since his sophomore year of high school. I think that kid's going to be fucking dominant when he gets to Iowa.
God, I hope so. That'd be awesome.
And
that
then
would be great.
Minnesota, they held up their end of the bargain too.
Yeah. Took it to Wisconsin, pulled out a close game. So I was happy with that.
Yeah, that was a good game. I was kind of root for Minnesota. I like seeing them win. So, wanted them to win just to get Iowa. Being an Iowa State fan, I wanted Iowa to get into the Big Ten championship game just so we got something to talk about here.
Yep. I tell you what, that third quarter or so, Tanner Morgan, I was like, oh God, is he going to shit another one down or piss another one down his leg? But he didn't. Minnesota pulled it out, won by 10. I was pretty happy. Row the boat, baby.
And Michigan, they destroyed Ohio State. That was a fun game to watch as well. Snowing in Michigan and Ann Arbor for that game. So that really makes Michigan's argument to be in the playoff that much stronger. And if they can win the Big Ten, that would get them in. But Iowa could spoil all that on Saturday. So
I'm the biggest Hawkeye fan you will probably ever meet. And if there's anyone outside of that locker room, other than close family and close friends, that actually thinks that they're going to win, I don't know what you're drinking or smoking, but I want to party with you ASAP.
Wow. The Iowa State fan over here is giving Iowa love, and man.
Yeah, man, that defensive line for Michigan is super fucking scary, and our offense just looks so bad. I am worried about this game. I think our defense helps us stay in there, and our special teams will help us, but that defensive line, man, you saw what they did to Ohio State, and Ohio State's offense was the number one offense in the nation. I am so afraid of that defensive line.
Realistically, I'm surprised that Iowa is only an 11-point dog right now. It started at 10.5 and it climbed that half point, but if it depends on what Iowa comes to play. Obviously, you're going to have your defense play the best they've played all year, but that offense, they got to – Padilla's got – or who cares? Padilla, Petras, well, not Hogue anymore, but whoever is playing quarterback, they got to step up because the defense is going to do their part to keep it within range. That quarterback's got to get enough pressure off of the run. Goodwin right now, or Godwin. Good. They got to get enough pressure so he can start running. Goodson, I'm sorry. Just so he can start running, because it's if they don't, dude, that's I mean, like you said, it could get ugly early, and with Michigan, they're trying to get the best seeding. They're gonna run it down your throat if they can put 50 points on you.
Mm-hmm. I tell you what, Iowa needs momentum right away, and they have to keep the momentum, because even if they let Michigan claw back a little bit, if they can keep on top of it with their special teams and defense and not let Michigan, if they could jump on them with like a pick six or a return for a touchdown, that would be amazing. And then just stay on top of them and not let off the gas pedal. I would be ecstatic. I mean, do I think Iowa's got a chance? Yes. Do I think it's likely? No, not at all. But we'll see, man. That's why they play the games.
Maybe they win. Maybe Baylor wins. Just chaos.
No, all hell breaks. Alabama wins.
Well, what's going to happen? Then they're going to put Ohio State in because they lost a two-good game. Jeez. I want limited chaos.
It'll be Alabama, Georgia, Ohio State, and Oregon will probably jump back in.
Oh my God.
I'm saying nice thing. Iowa, this 11.2% alcohol by volume beer must be hitting me.
Oh, no.
Hey, I greatly appreciate it. Thank you very much. I think that segment went better than I thought it was going to.
Well, I was going to say, you didn't really let me get into my stats, Joey. You cut into my momentum there. So
that's what I was doing.
If Iowa can stop Michigan's momentum, like you stopped me bringing up that Iowa didn't win a game versus the top 5 teams in the Big Ten, that maybe the real Iowa football team has a chance.
This is me being Joey Taylor for the week and pinning you deep and not letting you move.
I say it because I'm just jealous, because thinking on Iowa State season, I always try and make things about me, obviously, But if Iowa State didn't have to play Oklahoma State, Baylor, and then we keep our 2 losses to West Virginia and Texas Tech, and we still make the conference championship game, I would take that 10 times out of 10. Who the hell wouldn't,
Well, yeah. I mean, as soon as the Big 12 gets divisions, might as well. You can't play everyone every year when there's 14 teams. There's only 12 games.
Yeah, but let's not get into the Iowa football schedule, because you played Ohio State 3 times in the last 20 years. That's just absolutely insane.
They're in the East. We're in the West. It happens.
Yeah. Let's go on to the next one before we really make it into we can hate the Big Ten next week after Michigan wins 49 to 14.
Bry rant is coming on strong here.
Yeah.
So
we're already past the Big 12 stuff, so it won't be too much of a rant.
Yeah. So Indiana, they get destroyed by Purdue 44-7. I remember not too long ago when Indiana was they were ranked and they went 0-9 in
I wouldn't say the reason I brought that up was, do you remember last year during the whole Ohio State this isn't fair and all this, and they took we're not going to represent the Big Ten in our bowl game, and then they just get just rolled in the whole Big Ten schedule. I don't know. I think that's just kind of sweet irony.
That is funny. All right, so down in the SEC, LSU, they become bowl eligible.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, so my question is why, I know Coach O is gone, but why isn't he the one coaching this? Why didn't they give him a full year, I guess, including the bowl? I don't know how that works, but that's kind of strange to me.
I thought the same.
It would have been cool to see him win another bowl. I don't know what.
I think that's because he messed with the wrong man's wife, if we do recall.
That's very possible. I looked up different bowl games, who was going to be in what. I saw 4 different ones that LSU is potentially going to be in, so I'm not sure where they'll be. But they got him his final win, got the last Go Tigers, and so it's thanks to Coach O for an exciting tenure there. Bring a championship there, and I guess we'll see what Brian Kelly has to do.
It was a good game. They scored a touchdown inside of 20 seconds or something like that to win, didn't they?
They did, yeah. Yeah, it was a very good game.
Yeah. So good for them getting bowl eligible. elsewhere in the SEC, unless you got anything else on that game, Ryan.
Nope, that's it.
All right. Well, the other game in the SEC that I watched a lot of was Alabama and Auburn in the Iron Bowl. That was a great game. I feel like Auburn should have won that. They really let Bama back in that in the last 90 seconds.
Yeah.
And then the overtime, I really haven't watched any overtime games this year, but I hate it.
I agree. I hate it as well. I think realistically, as dumb as this sounds, it doesn't change it much. I think third overtime, isn't it first you can touchdown and kick it, right? And then second is touchdown and go for 2, right?
Yes.
And then right now it's third on, you just do 2-point conversions. I think you should have a third overtime where you do I'm sorry, I'm blanking here. You do a third overtime like the normal first and second, and then from fourth overtime, because I know the point is they want to have less plays so the kids don't get injured. But second overtime, you can kind of go tit for tat, and then it makes it look like holy shit, it's a 4 overtime game when really it was like a 2.5 overtimes.
Yeah, and watching that overtime, Alabama got the ball first. They scored a touchdown. They kicked the extra point. So then Auburn gets the ball. They score a touchdown. And my thought was, why don't they just go for 2?
Yes.
Like, they're not making it to the SEC championship. They're already bowl eligible. Like,
you don't have the athletes to continuously compete with Alabama. You're lucky to have been at that point.
Yeah, you don't lose really much by losing this game. Like, go for 2 here.
Mm-hmm.
And if you get it, you beat Alabama. Knock them out of the playoff. Like, that's your rival. Like, try to beat them. Especially, like I said, they had nothing to lose. They're already bowl eligible, so they're not making it to the championship game, so who cares? But they went for 2, or they kicked the extra point and then ended up losing. That was my take on that, but I just don't like this overtime.
I kind of do. I kind of like the, go for 2. I think you just have to have one more overtime, because once you get to fourth, then like you said, now you're just kind of doing your trick plays and who runs the best post route. I don't know. I just think the one more overtime and then do that.
Yeah, and elsewhere in the SEC, Kentucky, they beat Louisville. Kentucky, they had a decent year this year. They're not really known for their football, but in Louisville, they kind of are.
Yeah. Have you heard about Kentucky? And because I think that a lot of people assumed Mark Stoops was going to be one of them that went over to Oklahoma just because, the Stoops name. Have you heard about his contract at Kentucky?
No.
Every 7-win season, he gets a year extended on that contract, and every 10-win season, he gets 2 years. The guy could literally he is coaching for his job, which is always a joke. Like, of course he's coaching, but like, he never has the pressure of leaving that program. That's kind of, I almost wish Iowa State would have that with Matt Campbell. Hey, every year you're getting your 7, 8, 9 wins. You're getting another year on it. You never have the pressure of losing that job. Especially Kentucky, they know who they are.
Who was the old Virginia Tech coach? Was that Frank Vogel?
Beamer.
Frank Beamer, yeah, sorry. I'm pretty sure he had a deal like that. So,
yeah.
I don't think that's the new deal, but man, that is a sweet-ass deal. That's crazy.
Yeah, exactly. You are now, like Campbell, you're the best coach probably in their history for a while. You have no pressure of losing your job because, like at Florida, you literally have one bad year and you get rid of that coach at that point. Shit, man. And you're doing what you love at that point, head coach, SEC school. And they actually did. If Georgia wasn't such a fucking juggernaut, they were in the conversation, top 15, top 10 all year.
Right. Frank Vogel is the coach of the Lakers. I am an idiot. Sorry. I had the Frank part right.
You're close. We'll give it to you. We'll give you half credit. So
that works.
And Ole Miss wins the Egg Bowl versus Mississippi State. 31-21. Didn't really watch any of this game, but old Lane Kiffin gets the win. His name is being thrown around a lot in these coaching searches.
I realistically think Lane Kiffin is one of those people. You know, do you have those people that have their RVs and they go around the country and they have the map they scratch off? I think that's what he's doing with his coaching jobs. He just, all right, I got California. Okay, I did FAU for a year. Here's Florida. I got Mississippi. He's going to get Oklahoma soon enough, maybe.
So I listened to another podcast, the Lebitard Show, and they.
What are you talking about? We're the only podcast out there, Joey.
Exactly. Well, you're right. But they have him on quite a bit. And when he first got signed to Ole Miss, and he'd been there like a month recruiting and stuff, they were talking about him going on the boat when he was at FAU and stuff, and just, you know, park up on South Beach. And they're like, so what do you do now? He's like, I live on a lake that is brown water. I hate it so much. And just talking about how he hates that area. And now the Miami job is going to be open because they're going to get rid of Diaz now that the AD's gone. Don't be surprised if he goes to the Hurricanes. I know he loves South Beach, so I would not be surprised.
You're saying that Oxford, Mississippi can't compete with Miami, Florida?
No, I don't think so. But their tailgating scene, what's that called?
Sailgating?
No, the Oxford one. Yeah.
Oxford tailgating?
Yeah. God damn it. The Grove. That is awesome. I saw that when it was Alabama that played there, and the game day was there, and they just had all of the tents lined up on, like, they've got like 10 feet in between the sidewalks, and it's just like a weaving tailgating area. That looks amazing. I want to go there so bad.
Hell yeah.
Isn't that the
Heartland field trip next year?
Yeah.
Sure.
Annual meeting.
SEC Ole Miss.
There you go.
Is that where what they call it, the world's largest cocktail party? Is that old, at Ole Miss?
That's Florida, Georgia.
Yep.
Oh, okay. I was way off.
Yeah.
Get it together,
at least on
Trent.
the SEC. I wasn't even the right sport with Frank Vogel, so
Close enough.
We only deliver facts on this podcast.
That's right.
As we're
Facts
looking stuff
only.
up as we're talking.
Yeah. We don't need fact checkers, so there's that.
Mm-hmm.
That's right.
So the SEC championship is going to be Alabama versus Georgia. Basically, winner is in the college football playoff. Georgia is favored to win by 6.5. I hope Georgia stomps them.
I saw that this is the first time Alabama's an underdog in 80 games.
Yeah, since 2015.
Wow. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's be nice.
Yeah, that just blows my mind. 80 games.
Wasn't Iowa, not to bring it more bad things up, wasn't Iowa because they were originally underdogs versus Nebraska, but then they were favored, didn't it close with them like being a 1-point underdog?
Yep.
That is just still insane, dude. That's it.
Yep.
I just.
All right, the SEC championship game is also set. The AAC. Read that wrong.
Talking about the American.
Yeah. Yes. Houston.
Man,
and
11.2 is hitting you.
Yeah.
We're gonna have to find a new host.
Yeah. Don't drink and host, people.
Houston and Cincy. Cincy's a big favorite on that one. I think everybody outside of Houston wants Cincy to win this just to get them into the playoff.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people are they don't want them to get their doors blown off, but I think at this point it's kind of, you haven't had a group of 5 team in the playoff. It's kind of like, remember when Hawaii just got blown out by Georgia that one year? It's like, you know what? They did go 13-0. They said they won it. We want Bama. Okay, well here, in this case, here's Georgia. Best of luck. And they played them well last year in that bowl game, but prove it at that point. I think they have to beat the top dog to be the top dog.
I really want Cincy to win by like 50 this weekend and get that 2 spot. I just think that they're undefeated, and I think that they just need to be impressive and get that 2 spot. So that's what I'm rooting for this weekend.
I think the only way that they're going to get that 2 spot is if they pull a Georgia Tech Cumberland, that like 1916 game where they won 222-0. I think that's the only way they get the 2 seed. But
They got to win it by 200. You heard it from Bryant.
At least.
Yeah, winning by 50 in the last week of the season doesn't get you in the playoffs. Just ask TCU a few years ago. They were in the top 4, beat Iowa State by like 50, and then dropped out.
55-3, and they dropped from 3 to 6.
And that's why I envision Alabama going over Cincinnati, even if they lose.
I think there would be riots in the streets if they actually did that. Like, I think at this point, the first couple of years, you can get away with the rules being all flimsy. I think at this point, Cincinnati's literally been, the AP2 since I think like week 6 or something. If they dropped them out and they never lost a game, they do Cincy hasn't won games big lately. Well, neither is Alabama. What the fuck are they getting the love for? Because they're, they blow the doors off New Mexico State, but they're barely beating Auburn, who's 5-7. I don't give a shit if it's SEC. They're 5-7.
So where are we meeting up after these next rankings to riot, like Bryant says?
Oh, right.
I've got to work the next day. I'm not involved with this.
Yeah.
Oh, we're going to Sturgis, it sounds like.
Yeah, we're going. Yeah. Let's find somewhere in the middle of South Dakota. We don't want to cause too much destruction with our college football rampage.
I figured we'd go to Iowa and just knock down Gary Farda's door.
Yeah.
Oh, that's fine with me. I will join in on that in a heartbeat.
Yeah, we all don't have the luxury of having Wednesday off, Clark, to go riot on Tuesday night.
I'll be there.
So Cincinnati, they have started their campaign to raise a little bit of money, just a little bit of money to get things rolling in the Big 12. Only $100 million. I mean,
that's all it takes.
I guess.
I love to hear it, man. They're 100% committed. They're all in, and they're saying, they know they're kind of small town time right now. They know we got to compete. I think they've got last I heard was 26 of the 100 already, and that was during the silent portion of it before they really opened it up to the public. I think it's all in. Hey, they got to compete with the facilities of the Big 12 and these schools. I love to hear it, man.
The boys from the Heartland will be right back. I think Trent passed out.
Yep.
No,
Oh, shit.
Sorry, I was texting.
Oh, sure.
Oh, shit. I mean,
dozing off over there.
Trent, you need to text me, go on a Bry rant, and I would have just kept going, man.
Well, I mean, that's what I expect. Anytime I'm like, hey, anybody got anything else
Brian's
to
talking. We'll give 10 minutes here.
Hey, this fucking windbag is going. I'm just going to text, go to the restroom, walk my dog. I know you guys are really thinking over there.
That's just it. Anytime I'm like, hey, anybody else got anything to add for this? And Brian always chimes in, well, actually, I got one more thing.
And another thing.
I mean, if you want to finish that text, I do have some kind of off-the-wall stats to kind of bring up. I was saving that for the end. It's kind of a mishmash, not really Heartland, but interesting.
I'm guessing this
Trent's
is all
going to
getting
do what Bryant does during the smoking section.
Yeah.
I'm guessing this is all getting edited out, so I don't know where it's going to fit in, Brian.
I'm going to leave a nice little long pause in there to jump in with, I think our host is passed out.
No.
All right. Go ahead, Brian.
Oh, I was saying,
one more thing.
One more thing. Well, actually, no. Just a couple fun stats. Southern Miss this year, they went 0-9 when they had a quarterback starting, and they went 2-0 when they had to have a running back start at quarterback. So that was kind of interesting, I found. This is the first time, to get our Sark hate in here, this is the first time that Florida State, Texas, Nebraska, and USC, Southern California, have all had losing records in the same year. And then Stanford, they've had 4 times this year where they have played a team and the coach was either fired or left within a week. They played Wazoo, I believe it was Washington, USC, and then who the hell was the last game? They just played them. Give me 1 second
Who
here.
are you talking about?
Stanford. Who did they just play this weekend?
I can tell you in a few minutes.
In a few minutes? Don't you have the internet over there? Jesus.
They just played Notre Dame.
Jesus, that's it. Yeah. So and then Brian Kelly left for another school. But I just thought, you play 12 games and 4 schools lose their coach within a week. That's like the Grim Reaper type thing. Fear of the tree, I guess.
All right. Well, Bryant, anything else?
No, I was just going to do the bold projections. That was really about it.
Let's hear them.
And this is from CBS Sports, so you can look it up. I love that Iowa State is playing Clemson in the Disappointment Bowl. Sorry, Cheez-It Bowl this year. Both teams just really fucking underachieved. But if you're not going to go to the Fiesta or a New York Six Bowl, you might as well go to the dumbest sounding bowl game. And Cheez-It is where it's at.
I love Cheez-Its though. Man,
fuck
so
me too,
good.
dude. I might eat some after the podcast here.
There you go.
Iowa and Texas A&M right now is in the Citrus Bowl because I think they have Ohio State in the Rose Bowl and Michigan State is above that. I don't know. I think some validation should be as you are second place in the Big Ten or however you want to look at it in the conference championship. But, the Rose Bowl is going to be a curmudgeon and do it by their own rules.
Right.
And then right now they said LSU and Central Florida will play in the Birmingham Bowl. But it would kind of be interesting because I heard there's also talking about maybe the Raging Cajuns might get in there. If that would be kind of cool to see an interstate rivalry, if you will, an up-and-coming Louisiana, an SEC LSU that hasn't had a greatest year and kind of, you probably got all the the Louisiana kids, the Raging Cajuns that wanted to play at LSU and didn't have enough talent or didn't get looked at. I think it would kind of be an interesting game if they match those two up.
Yeah, so I do like the whole in-state rivalry thing in a bowl game. It doesn't really happen that often. Like, let's get Iowa State and Iowa in a bowl game. The Heartland, Pulse of the Heartland Bowl, maybe.
Oh my God, I couldn't do
year?
a whole month of.
Yeah, no, yeah. You think Cyhawk Twitter is toxic for 6 days? Try 30.
Yeah.
And I mean, I don't really hate the Cyclones. I, cheer against them when they play Iowa, but my God, there is some toxic things on Twitter and Facebook during that week. And I try to stay away from it.
I totally 100% agree with you. All right. So we have everything from college football off our chest. Let's move on to the NFL here. We'll make a little rundown of our picks that we had last week. Some of us don't want to talk about them again.
Not me.
Yeah.
Skip me. You guys just pick me up later.
Yeah, I don't even think I made a pick last week. So.
Oh, you forgot? Is that what happened?
Oh, did somebody write it down? Thanks.
Oh, yeah. I got it here if you really want me to go through it, host.
No, let's hear yours, Bryant.
Oh, yeah. Shoot, Joey, do you remember what I had?
Yeah, you had the Bears not covering and the Lions covering.
Yes, sir, $10. I did.
Well, I paid, showed it on Twitter. It's there. Lannister Mahosky always pays his bets.
Always pays his bets. No, you did. I would say those Lions, they really know how to fall just short enough but cover. They've done that the last couple of weeks here.
Yeah. Except when I bet on them, then they don't. Oh, wait, no, they did. Yeah, that's my one win. Never mind. You're right.
All right. So, Clark, what was yours?
Well, I took a team that was really riding high in the NFC, facing off against a middle-of-the-road AFC team there. Thanksgiving Day game, I thought I would see a little bit more out of them Cowboys. They were favored by 7.5 points, and they got their asses kicked.
Yeah, that was ugly. And Ryan, he went against the grain with his pick.
Yeah, did a little under with the Washington football team in Seattle, and it wasn't even close. Hit the under 46.5.
What was the total score in that game?
Oh, geez, I can't remember, but it was like 30.
I'm looking
32.
Right. It was 32. 32. Yeah, I was just looking at 32.
Yes.
You still had 14 more points on the board.
Yeah, man.
I honestly would have taken the under if it was at 40. Like those two teams cannot score. I don't know what the deal is with Russell Wilson, but they just cannot score.
He hates Pete Carroll.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking too.
Mm-hmm.
And then,
He'll be a Saint next year.
Ooh. I like that.
Yeah, that's my prediction. Is he'll be a Saint.
Russ Wilson will be a
Talking
Saint
Russell
next year?
Wilson going to New Orleans, right? Not Pete Carroll's going to die and be a Saint, right?
No, Pete Carroll. I don't know. He might choke on gum or something. I don't wish that upon him. But no, Russell Wilson will be on a new team next year, and I'm pretty sure it'll be the Saints.
I just wanted to make sure you didn't think Pete Carroll would be sainted by the Catholic Church or anything. So.
No.
Write it down. Brian's bold prediction. Russ Wilson to the
There
Saints.
you go.
We'll check in next summer.
Yep.
So I unfortunately picked again. So any pick that I do is unfortunate. The Vikings.
And you heard our favorite team. How dare you?
Yeah, I know. The Vikings at +3 to cover against the 49ers. They did not. It was looking good. But yeah, of course, I picked them, so they lose. It's quite simple. But I was looking at our picks here. On the season, we are 12-8. So if you're betting everything that we locked in, you'd be up right now. So
we're good.
Yeah. Me and Ryan's backs are hurting on carrying this 12-8.
Yeah, when are you guys going to pick up the slack here? Jeez, I want to lose some weekend and be okay with it.
You have 2/3 of the right picks.
Yeah, you only have 8 of the 12 picks. So you guys keep on keeping on. I'm going to keep on. Maybe I'll pick the team playing the Vikings this week to get the Vikings to win. So
please do.
Who the Vikes play this week?
Lions. 7-point favorites.
So
that's
I don't know
being way too generous to the Vikings.
Yeah, for sure. So the Chiefs, they were on a bye this week. So Homer Bryant, do you got any rants about the Chiefs, or Jackson Mahomes come out with any TikTok videos, anything noteworthy out of Kansas City this week?
I have alerts on TikTok when he posts anything, so I'll definitely let you know when he does. Honestly, it was really kind of like if any bye week could have happened, this is the best week. Dude, I didn't have to worry about planning my meals, or I travel between Thanksgiving dinners. I didn't have to worry about, I have to leave this lunch early because they play in the afternoon game, or anything else on this long weekend. They didn't have to play. I could just enjoy the holidays, talking politics with family. It was great.
Brian, are you talking politics for Thanksgiving? Are you invited back next year?
Well, I talked about Ralph Nader. I think everyone just got bored about it.
Yeah, and he taught his mom what the shocker was. So.
Yeah. Some idiot posted that on Facebook, and I'm sitting here, and she's going, "What does this pose mean?" And I go, "I don't know." And she's like, "No, yeah, you do." I'm like, "I really don't want to say it." And she just kept pestering me. So then finally, I was like, I didn't know how else to say it. I was like, "Mom, it's 2 in the puss and 1 in the butt." And she just looked at me like I was a disgusting person. And she's the one asking. I mean, what do you want me to do? I'm an honest person.
She looks at you like you're disgusting, like you're the one that made that up.
Yeah, like I invented the shocker, which, holy shit, if I invented the shocker, I would have changed my first and/or last name to that. Bryant Shocker or Shocker Wilkes. That would have, I don't know how well that would have done with the ladies, but I don't know. Bryant's not doing too good right now either, so.
All right. Well, Clark, do you have anything on the Chiefs?
I'm just looking ahead at this weekend's matchup. They're playing primetime against the Broncos. It is going to be in Kansas City.
Sunday night.
Them Chiefs are, I don't know. I think they're favored by too many, but if they can come out and get that win, that's all I'm looking for.
Anything more than 3 for the Chiefs is too many.
Yeah, I'll agree with you on that. I once it gets to the double digits, we're at 10-point favorites right now. I worry. Their defense is on fire and their offense is average. They're with Mahomes at quarterback and the weapons he has, they're doing average right now.
It is a primetime game, so that's one reason why I'm like, well, it could go off.
True, they blew the doors off fucking the Raiders.
Yeah.
It's a primetime division game, though. That's always a dog fight.
That division game's
in Arrowhead, though, so we'll have.
But I mean, you never know.
There's a lot of division games this week.
Yes.
Holy shit! I just noticed that. That's a good call.
Bears Cardinals. I'm not sure what division that is, but
It's not.
I'm just giving you shit.
All right. Well, the Vikings, they lose to the 49ers, as we've already talked about with my great pick.
I do believe I said it might as well be the Niners by 14 after you picked the Vikings.
Well, you were wrong because it was only them by 8. So
yeah,
Trent's picks are toxic.
So still wrong, but
No, with the Vikings, they didn't have a single one of their starters on the defensive line, and you're playing against one of the best running offenses in the league. That's they're just going to run right over you.
Mhm.
It was over from the start.
I thought the Vikings were in it until they had a couple bad turnovers deep in their end of the field in the second half that kind of sealed the deal, I guess.
And I complained about coaching before, and the last 2 weeks prior to this, it seemed like they had figured it out a little bit. Oh, my dog's trying to make a little part in this. But the first time the Vikings were down in the goal line, first down, run, second down, run, both times stuffed. Then you pass on third, you go for it on fourth, and you pass it and you actually get it. The last time that they're in the goal line, first time run, second time run, stuffed both times, this time with your backup running back because Dalvin Cook is hurt. And then you throw on third down and throw on fourth down and don't get it this time. And I thought they had learned that maybe passing is our strength, but they went back to the same crap as they did prior. And, I'm sorry. Use your strengths. Kirk Cousins, Justin Jefferson, Adam Thielen, those are your strengths right now. Our running game has not been good. Dalvin Cook has had good yards this year, but it's because he has one or two big ones, and then after that he's averaging maybe 1 to 2 yards a carry. So they just need to start using their strengths. It's ridiculous that they keep going back to run, pass.
Yeah, and with Kirk Cousins this year having this amazing year that he has been having, I don't know why they go away from him.
And he was a little off this week. He didn't have his best game, but, every quarterback's going to be off every once in a while. But you still got to keep going with what your strengths are.
So they have to let the other team score so they can just kick off to Kene Nwangu and let him run it back for a touchdown, apparently.
Dude, that guy is good. That guy. I look forward to seeing him get some more reps at running back this week with Cook being out.
People question that draft pick, but I was there for it.
Well, he wasn't drafted that early, was he? I can't remember.
Fourth round.
Yeah, that's not a.
But people were like, "Oh, he's a backup backup running back at Iowa State. Like, why are we drafting him?"
Yeah, he is fast. Boy, is he fast.
Was he their backup last year?
Yes.
Man, yeah, you're right. He was fast. I remember him now.
Yeah, he got stuck behind David Montgomery and Breece Hall.
Right.
Like that's just bad luck. So he's a good running back.
Yeah,
I can't remember what he ran at the combine, but it was quick.
It was ridiculous. Yes.
Yeah. It was under 4.3, I think. Around 4.3.
I don't know what type of field vision he has as far as being a running back, but if he stays healthy, I don't see why he couldn't be getting easily 10, 15 carries a game in 2 years easily, if not becoming a starter.
Yep.
Hey, I don't mean to bring up a negative subject about the Vikings, but have we heard anything more on that Everson Griffin? Is he doing all right, or they have that under control?
Yeah, so he came out of his house voluntarily, and so they have him on the non-sports injury list or whatever. So he's, I don't foresee him coming back anytime soon, and I really hope he just takes care of himself. Yeah. Don't worry about football.
Exactly. You've made your career. You've made your money. At this point, just get right, dude.
Isn't it interesting, though? He has these two things in Minnesota, but, he goes to Detroit, he goes to Dallas, and he's perfectly fine. What is it about Minnesota that he just it's not good for him?
The love boat, everything crazy goes on in Minnesota, man.
Right?
Gosh. That's what they need, the love boat, just to get their minds off football for a while. Relax.
Yes. ELE, everyone love everyone.
Yeah. So I think I sent this. I think I might have sent to Ryan and Chad that there was an article, the Love Boat, that actual boat is actually on Lake Okoboji now.
Ooh.
Yeah, we should go visit it.
Representing the Heartland here up
That's
in Lake
right.
Okoboji.
That's right.
Rumor is that Mike Tice has a permanent hotel room in Okoboji.
Yeah. All right. Well,
isn't that just kind of like a condo or something? He just has one room, pays what, like $40,000. He just owns the one room at that point.
Yeah, pretty much.
All right. Well, the Bears, they win on Thanksgiving against the Lions. The poor winless Lions still.
They're gonna get one, man. I tell you.
I have a feeling they're gonna get one too.
This
Is
weekend.
Justin Fields hurt? I know he didn't play this week. Is the Red Rocket this week?
Yeah, Andy Dalton had a pretty decent game this week.
Yeah, 300 yards passing.
Yeah.
I remember everyone going crazy because the Vikings didn't trade up to get Fields, and it's like, yeah, that's looking like a very smart decision. When has an Ohio State quarterback been good in the NFL?
I guarantee with my Big 10-8, I could find those stats on how awful the Ohio State quarterbacks are. But I mean, the last few, Krenzel with the Bears was terrible. You got Cardell Jones, you got JT Barrett, who's not in the league, Terrell Pryor, who's I don't think not in the league anymore.
Troy Smith with Ravens started for 2 seasons, I think.
Yeah, I would say that. I mean, he's the most successful if you're gonna, because he did at least play. I guarantee Troy Smith starting those 2 seasons probably has more wins than probably the other, like the latest 10 Ohio State quarterbacks combined. They don't translate well. Now that's where I always am surprised anyone in the first round trades up for them until someone proves it.
What's that?
Dwayne Haskins.
Before? Yeah, that's. I was gonna get to that. Joey, damn you.
I got Cardell Jones was playing in the XFL, I guess.
God, I miss the XFL. If there's one thing that like college football or NFL would bring from the XFL, I loved the 3-point conversion. Fuck it, from I think it was like the 15-yard line or 10-yard line, and you had to do a play and you could get 3 points. All of a sudden, an 18-point game is a 2-score possession. I love it. I wish they would bring that in, dude.
Brian's all for the XFL.
I want points.
Dwayne Johnson's bringing it back, man.
Yeah, I was saying, I thought The Rock just bought in.
Yeah,
he did.
Can the guy do anything wrong? He can rap. He's in movies. He's bringing back minor league football leagues. Hell yeah, dude. Everything he touches. He's going to be the president in the next 20 years. I'm calling him now.
Have you guys watched Red Notice on Netflix? Him and Ryan Reynolds, Gal Gadot.
I started it.
Yeah, we watched it this last week, and it's not bad. It's entertaining. I mean, it's not anything great, but it's at least an entertaining hour and a half.
That's one of those movies you're like, I know this isn't winning an Oscar. I just need something to shut my brain off for 90 minutes,
Yeah, it was, and it was enjoyable if you take it as that. I mean, he's not going to win any Oscars for Best Actor, but he's at least entertaining.
I started, and then I'm like, wait, I'm on season 3 of The Wire, which might be the best show of all time, so I just need to keep going on that.
What a transition there, Joey. Like you said, quickly claimed Wire to, maybe I should watch Red Notice.
Right.
I need to hear Ryan Reynolds say something quirky to The Rock.
Sorry, Trent, I kind of took us off track here. Sorry.
Yeah, so elsewhere in the Heartland, the Bengals beat the Steelers 41-10. The Steelers look awful. Ben Roethlisberger looks like he's about 86 years old when he's on the football field right now.
Yeah, he there's no way he's playing again next year.
No.
I mean, I'm sure they'll allow him to come back if he truly thinks he can, but there's no reason he should be on a football field anymore.
No, not at all. The Colts, they lose to the Bucks. The Buccaneers are getting hot at the right time again, I guess, kind of like they did last year, which is scary for the rest of the NFC.
Weird. Tom Brady, he's like a diesel engine. He starts off slow probably at the beginning here, and then just the fucking into the season, postseason, he just gets fucking red hot. I hate it. Can he retire? God damn it. It's supposed to be Patrick Mahomes' time.
Brady's leading the MVP odds right now, too.
Yeah.
Is he?
God.
Yeah.
You say it's Mahomes.
Stafford.
You say it's Mahomes' time, but Tom Brady's going to play until Mahomes retires. So there's that.
He might. So all of Mahomes' curls are gray, and he's got bags under his eyes. Tom Brady's still he's gonna look 45 at that point, but he's actually 68 or something.
Yeah. So the Browns, they lose to the Ravens. The Browns, they're doing the opposite of the Buccaneers. They're started decent and they're just going downhill quick. They can't score right now.
I think
Mayfield's injuries are worse than what they're advertising.
Yeah.
I think they just need a playmaker at wide receiver. Like, if they could trade for a guy like Odell, they would just be... I'm just kidding. No, isn't Jarvis injured as well?
Yeah,
Landry?
and their deep threats are their tight ends. It's crazy.
Yeah.
I've never seen an offense like that except in Iowa.
That Njoku is pretty fucking solid, but yeah, when you only have to plan on 2 running backs and you can just pack the box, and like you said, your deep threat is a tight end that, you know, until he proves himself to be closer to like Kelsey and Kittle's speed and stuff, you know, you can't have a deep threat. They're just gonna, you know, pack the 10, 15-yard lines and bend and don't break at that point.
And the Packers coming out of the Heartland, they beat the Rams 36-28. Looks like they're getting hot now with back for a few weeks off the COVID list. Again,
the Vikings beat them. I don't think they're as good as what their record says.
You don't think so?
No, the Vikings beat them. If the Vikings can beat them, they're not as good as 9-3. And I don't know if the Rams are all that good either. From what it's been looking.
Did Trent pick the Vikings that week?
That's what I was going to ask. If I picked the Vikings that week, or if I picked the Packers that week, that's why they lost. It isn't because the Vikings won.
I'm pretty sure you did, dude. What was that, 2 weeks ago?
Have we narrowed it down to the Trent picking your team is worse than the Manicast curse?
Yeah. What's worse, me picking your team or talking to Peyton and Eli and 100% losing the next game?
Did anything happen to Draymond Green or whoever was on the other week when they didn't have any football players?
He almost got in a fight, but that's about it. But that's normal.
Yeah.
That's the thing is that NFL players won't even go on there anymore. We still let Trent do picks, so
we're gonna have to quit that here before long.
That's just it. I'm gonna pick against the Chiefs every week just so Bryant can pick the Chiefs and they lose.
Well, so. Ask Joey how that goes, my friend.
Yeah, well. So the Rams, you know, the Packers beat them. The Rams, you know, they were my Super Bowl pick like 3 weeks ago. And
why would you pick them? God,
they were hot then, and now they're
because Joey did. That's why.
Me and Joey have the same Super Bowl. Now they're just spiraling out of control. So
both of our teams lost this week. The Chargers lost too.
Yeah. That's what we do.
You guys are looking hot right now.
God damn it.
All right. Well, do we have some time for golf?
20 minutes.
I got one more NFL thing if I can real quick.
All right. Let's hear it.
My favorite team won. They won 21-14 over the Jaguars. The Falcons did.
Sorry, Joey. I skipped over the Falcons, but yeah, they get a win.
No, that's fine. They're not from the Heartland, and this doesn't need to be a podcast where we just talk about our favorite teams. But I just wanted to point that out that they won. That's it.
We'll just change to a Heartland team, then we can, dude. That's been my excuse to join this pod.
I made it through a dogfighting scandal. I think I can make it through with them not being in the Heartland.
That was pretty rough, wasn't it?
Joey was out apologizing to all the neighborhood dogs for
being a Falcons fan.
For being that Falcons
Giving
fan.
out all the
my dad still wears a Michael Vick jersey. I don't know why.
That's a tough scene. You know, that is Fort Dirty, though. He probably gets some street cred with that thing.
Exactly.
All right.
You continue.
Now that we know the Falcons won, good job, Joey. A little bit of golf news. The match was on Black Friday. And I think what we all wanted to happen in the match happened.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Am I the only one that watched it?
Watched a little bit of it.
Did you? Yeah, it was. Yeah, I mean, Brooks Koepka just absolutely kicked his ass, which was great. Listening, I liked having Phil and Chuck and Charles Barkley as the commentators, but I tell you what, there was a point there for like 20 minutes. Phil was talking about breathing and alpha breathing and beta breathing, all that crap. And that was the most dry TV I've ever heard in my life. And it's all because and it's all because of DeChambeau, because he does all these stupid scientific things. You got Koepka, who's your typical jock of I'm just going to hit the ball and put it in the hole, and it works pretty well for him. And you've got DeChambeau, who has all these weird things that he's got to be Mr. Science. And that was just the most dry thing. And I appreciate Charles Barkley is just saying, hey, why do you guys do this? Just keep it simple. When I was in the NBA, I just breathed a little bit differently. And it was just terrible for about 20 minutes there. But other than that, it was fun watching Koepka just kick his butt.
How many holes? Didn't they concede or something?
Yes.
Yeah. After 9, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it was only a 12-hole match, and they only made it to hole 9.
Hate to see it.
You know what? I would say what a bullshit move. But I'll be honest, like a couple of seasons ago, I went out and golfed like the first day of spring, and it was like 45 degrees. My back was tight. I shot I think it was like 2 or 3 triple bogeys within the first 4 holes. And I paid for a round of 18, and I just said, fuck it, and I quit after 4 holes. I just sat there and drank beer and watched everyone else play. I was like, you know what? I'm not out here paying to have a bad time. I might as well just relax and drink some beer, you know?
Respect the move.
Exactly. I'm a grown-ass man. I can waste my money how I want.
That's when you jump in like 3 holes later. You're like, celebrity shot. This is my turn.
God damn, you actually called it joy. I did the first 4 holes and I quit. And then I was like, you know what? Hole 7, I'm going to shank it to the right. I'm like, all right, I guess I am done. And I just got back in the car.
All right. And this morning, Tiger had an interview with Golf Digest. And he had the presser this morning for his tournament that's coming up here. I guess really nothing. He didn't say anything too interesting.
Did you listen?
Yeah, did you listen, Trent?
I did, but it's not like he's not like I'll be back. Masters. It's not like what everybody hoped.
Yeah, I mean, you know, it was interesting listening to him talk about the whole process of it and how 50-50 chance of losing his leg and actually able to keep it and all that. That was interesting. But yeah, it just kind of sounds like he will eventually play, but it won't be very much. Again,
sounds to me like Trent wasn't too impressed that Tiger's feeling okay, but he's just not quite back at the tournament level. He's like, oh, well, screw you, Tiger.
I would have been more impressed if he had a peg leg after this situation.
Trent's like, I just put $50 on you on the Masters.
It was only a flip of the coin that you almost lost the leg. Jesus, come on.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I didn't. It wasn't interesting to the people were like wanting him to come out and be like, I'm coming back. I'm playing a full tournament schedule. It was like, I'm going to pick my battles. You know, he's probably going to play the majors, maybe 1 or 2 tournaments throughout the year, but it
sounds to me now he's more into grooming his son to be the next him.
Yes.
Right.
Axel Woods.
Axel.
Yeah. Well, at least Trent didn't pick whether or not he got his leg, because he probably would have picked that he kept it and then he lost it.
So thank you, Trent.
I would have picked him to lose it just so he kept it. All right.
And the disappointing thing is no word on him actually hiring a personal driver, so this doesn't keep on happening.
I'd do it.
Oh, yeah, I would do it in a heartbeat. I've got a clean driving record. Contact me, Tiger. I know you listen to our podcast.
What are the qualifications for that job?
That's a great question.
I think it's you have to have a clean driving record, you know, like no DUIs, and I think you just have to have a fire playlist. He has to groove with all of your songs. Because if you're like driving down the highway, you're grooving, all of a sudden like Sarah McLachlan comes on the fucking radio. He's just like, nah, I'm not vibing with this. Get the hell out.
And you have to be 0% attractive so he doesn't get back into his sex addiction thinking about you.
Yeah.
Did you hear him talk?
His dress real quick. Oof. Get him going.
Did you hear him talk about his working out and his music choices and stuff?
Mm-mm.
No.
So he's like, typically when I work out, I like to listen to some hip hop, that type of stuff. But I had to listen to some weird things to get me into working out, things like metal. And it's like, dude, how is that weird? Like, maybe we're a different person, but like usually you want something fast paced. But I guess weird to Tiger Woods is normal for us. Normal for us is weird for Tiger Woods.
Well, like death metal or like just like metal rock?
I was just saying, all I heard was metal. So.
Like if it's like that screamo
maybe heavy
stuff,
metal.
I can see it. But
he probably just had to put on a little bit of Metallica.
Like heavy metal. Yeah. Welcome to the jungle. That's as weird as he gets, I guess.
Yeah.
I had to get into some hardcore stuff. It's just Back in Black by AC/DC.
All right. Anybody else got anything they need to get off their chest?
Not tonight yet.
I'm good.
Nope.
All right. Well, thanks for listening, everybody. Continue to let us know how we're doing. Slide into the DMs on these socials. Joey, what are the socials?
At Heartland Plus for both Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. Just look us up, Pulse of the Heartland.
All right, everybody. Thanks for listening. Catch us here in the next day or two for the Funcast.
Appreciate you.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.